Hey, everybody. Welcome to Courage Week. We do have some new podcasts starting. Welcome to season 3. We are also going to end our week with a courageous action chat, which is a conversation that we host on Zoom. For those of you who might recall, during the pandemic, we ran 55 of these every Friday at 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. It was just our way of bringing the community together, talk about real conversations and real things. And honestly, it's just good for your soul. If this is something you want to join this Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 5 p.m. Eastern, we will put the link in the show notes for you to jump in and reserve your seat. We do not record these calls. We do not record these action chats. It's just a way for us to kind of go around the horn. And we've got some amazing people coming from all over the country to just give us a temperature check of what's going on out there. Specifically, we'll be looking at, is this hybrid workforce working? What ideas do you have? Are we really landing, or has it become way too transactional? So again, we'll put the link to this Friday's Courageous Action Chat in the show notes for the podcast. Hopefully you can come out and join us. This is a show about facing fear, unlocking courage, and taking action.
Courage isn't necessarily a daunting thing.
It's going to give you more purpose. It's going to give you more drive.
It feels like making a courageous decision is going to get you closer to who you aspire to be.
It's knowledge plus faith plus action equals courage.
And this is like life. Just like if you're surfing or skateboarding or whatever, it's a calibration. Sometimes you have to be the kite and sometimes you have to fly the kite. And so as we're doing this, we have 2 times where I'm like, oh man, I'm pushing too much. All right, you know what? Let me take a step back. It might take longer than necessary, but that's what we need to get in the right headspace. Is that one of your cool outfits?
This is way cool. This is how we're going to start the show.
Aviator Nation?
This is how we're going to start the show. This podcast is brought to you by Aviator Nation. Well, look, you're already making me smile, which I think is part of your business model, isn't it?
It's how I roll.
All right. This is a long overdue guest that's joined us. And if you're not smiling already, like the two of us are smiling, you will. We have, and by the way, yeah, it's fun and games today, but it's also, I want to acknowledge you for your courage, for the moves that you've made. Because when we first met, you were a digital marketer. I mean, you've always been, in my opinion, outgoing extroverts. At least that's what we perceive you to be. I'm curious your take on that. But you made your leap, and it's cool to see you take the things that bring you joy and monetize them. So let me do this properly. Gary Ware is the founder of Breakthrough Play. He is an author of Playful Rebellion. I almost blew it, Gary. I almost blew it. And he's got sound effects I'm sure we might hear today from him. He's got is that the first one?
Yeah.
He's got Believe in the background, Ted Lasso style, a Super Mario 1-up in the background. He's all about play and helping companies kind of like lighten up a little bit. Now, Gary, this is a light topic, but it's had to have been heavy at some point, right?
Of course. The work is serious, but if I don't take myself too serious, if you know what I mean.
Well, I think that's probably why we get along so well, right?
Exactly.
Take me back into your mind on when you finally made the leap.
You want to go back?
How easy? Yeah, well, walk me through it. It's gonna be a great podcast. By the way, this is all Gary doing Gary things. All right, take me back. How scared were you when you made the leap? Or let's hear the origin story if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was terrified, but it was one of those things where, looking back in retrospect, it was almost like the universe was like, "No, we're gonna push you off this cliff, and make it so that you can't come back." Or at least that's what I was thinking in my mind. So I will tell you, before it started, I will give you the 3 days before.
Okay.
So it is March of 2018. I'm in Nicaragua. I'm running this retreat. It's a play adventure retreat. It's the last day of the retreat. I'm on the beach with my co-facilitator looking at the sunset. There's turtles coming out of eggs, going to the water. And I thought to myself, all right, I made it. I'm doing great things.
Metaphor? Turtle metaphor? Is that where we're going with this?
You're the metaphor guy. I will tell you the story, and you can tell me what the metaphor is.
Deal.
But I was like, wow, I made it. I have a job that affords me to do this awesome stuff. And at the time, I was a co-founder of a digital marketing agency, and I was so excited about this time in my life where I thought it was called harmony. That's the theme. That's what I called it. I got a tattoo on my arm that night. I kid you not. I had that an epiphany. I got a tattoo. What most people don't know, I have a tattoo on the other arm that means chaos. So I've chaos and I've harmony. And I go back to the States that Monday. I meet with at the time, I thought it was my co-founder, only for him to say, I think we need to go our own ways. And we broke up.
So this is now day 3 or day 2?
This is day
0?
Well, this is day 0 of my new life at this point. Yes. So Saturday, I had the epiphany. Monday, everything, the world came crashing back and was like, all right, here's the new reality.
Why does the universe do this to us?
I have this belief that we all want to do big things, right? And the universe is like, all right, you want to do these big things? You're not ready yet. So I'm going to put you through a test that's going to level you up. And most people are like that. It's like, oh no. But that's what happened. So it gets worse. So my business partner breaks up with me. 2 hours after that, our landlord calls and said, we have about 45 days to move. He's selling the house that we're renting.
This is where you should hit another. I would do another special effect right here.
I'll do the same one. And
Totally. Those are the right two.
yes. So now I'm sweating bullets. What do I do? And I guess like normal people would just be like, all right, go get another job, dummy. Like, you have a network, just call some people up and say, hey, look, I'm out of work. What do I do? But me and my wife were like laying in bed is one of these conversations that you have with your significant other at like 11 o'clock. The kids put asleep and you're like, all right, what are we doing? And that's where, so it was my wife. She was the catalyst who was saying, dude, you're doing some cool stuff. Why don't you do more of that?
Mm.
And of course, I'm scared. I'm like, I don't even know. Like, is this really going to make money? Like, this had been a hobby. This had been a fun, like, sort of side hustle, but I'm not really making money. It was just a fun thing to do. Yes, it brought joy. And yes, I saw the potential, but can I support my family with that?
Hey, and I get it. We're funny creatures, right? It's like in the moment, in the darkness, you're looking at the ceiling. You're slightly flooded with fear. It's the thing like, how am I going to make money? And your wife's clarity is like, why aren't you going after this? Why aren't you doing more of this? And this is like the XY axis where X is joy and Y is money.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And it's like, wait a minute, what is it going to take for me to do more of this? Right. And how much after you're at day 0, do you start to see, okay, maybe there's something here. Maybe this is sticking. Maybe I can make a living doing this.
365 days later. So what I do, we sell most of our stuff. We put the rest of it in storage and we move in with my parents who live nearby. And they were happy. I don't think they were happy for me, their oldest son, to come back home, more so they were happy to see their grandson, who at the time was 1. So that was the yeah, come on in. And I told my wife, I said, all right, 2 years. 2 years. If this is not working in 2 years, I'll call Ryan Berman and see, will he hire me back?
Which I would in a minute.
Yes.
Wait, is that why you're here? Do you need a job, Gary?
All right. So Ryan, in front of everyone, hey, can you hire me? No, I'm joking. So
the answer is no, but I will always work with you on everything. And and it's not no in the wrong way. It's just like,
of course.
And full disclosure, audience, and I'm sure there are certain people who went on the journey with us already who know how amazing you are. And like, I will work with you every day of the week. I love working with you. Gary Ware, you're like, I describe you as a little levitating Jedi who can like open up a room and get them to like relax, and like you are the ultimate diffuser for when it's time to have a real conversation. And the way you go about play, and I don't want to take us out of the 365 story because I know we're right in it, but I also want you to talk about like this improv background. And I mean, that was sort of, you were marinating in that way before you ever started this business, correct?
Yeah, of course. At this point, I had been doing improv and actually starting to teach it. At this point, we're 5 years in of actually me studying the art of improv.
Okay, and so how does this show up? Like, where are we? You're back at home.
Yeah.
You're like, I need some runway. You get the green light. Your wife is cool. You're figuring it out. Carry on.
Yeah. So at this point now, then I'm like, all right, what is this? And this is where I did turn to my network, and it did take some courage to say, all right, I'm doing this new thing. I'm not sure what it is, but I have a feeling that it can be transformative for your team. Do you want to taste? And that's where I started doing what I call complimentary recesses. And I would go to anyone who would let me, any conference, and just start doing this and getting feedback.
I don't think it's any different than the luxury I had, by the way, when I started Courageous. You know, I had a little bit of runway because of the last company. And someone once said to me, you know, you start talking to other speakers, and you're like, I think I can do that. I think I can share what I learned along the way and see where this takes us. And someone said, get your keynote price 5 times and double it. And I remember getting a sheepish call early. This would have been in my first 2 months from a good friend. And the same thing, you put yourself out there. And she was like, listen, I have this offsite with Snapchat. And she felt guilty. She's like, they only have $1,000. I know if that's like beneath you, but will you consider it? And in my mind, I'm like, I would have paid you $1,000. I would have given you $1,000 to say I'm speaking at Snapchat for the rest of my life. And to be honest, I remember that same moment of like, this is such a great testing ground for material. And I think I have something, and I think I can help people. As you start your little recess journey, are you constantly auditing the feedback of the audience, which is probably what you learn in improv anyway? Yes.
Yeah, real-time feedback. Oh, that didn't work. All right, cool. Let's try something else. And I had one of those moments too, where thanks to our mutual friend Nicole, she's at the Padres.
Nicole Miller.
The
great. This deserves a sound effect. The great Nicole Miller.
Yes.
By the way, anytime you talk to Nicole, that's actually what it sounds like.
Right? Yeah. Nicole Miller, she's at the Padres, and she put me in touch to their director of sales, Jeff Gold, who was looking for training for his team. Similar situation. Hey, we only have a couple $1,000. Would you come in and bring your stuff to the team? And I was like, yes.
Well, let me check the dates.
I don't. Can we pencil?
I can make.
Yeah.
I can move some stuff around.
I gotcha. So yeah, so that was like moments like those. It was very humbling, and then I was able to get some feedback in real time and make adjustments.
I'm trying to recall if you and I have done three events together now or more. I know of at least 3.
Yeah, is it 3 or more? Well, it's 2 with.
Okay.
So is that 1 or is that 2?
I just counted it as 1, but you're right. So I think the first time I used you was like loyal. You came in and kicked off the day. And that's when I was like, this is awesome. Like you could instantly see the magic at work, and you got everybody off their feet and playing. The second time we tried a virtual. Right, with PRSA. I was in New York, I think.
Yep. And then we went to Houston together.
Which was Houston? Oh my Lord. Which was
That was for the podcasting company.
Okay, that's right. Okay, that was Ad Results Media.
Yep.
And then so 4 times. And then you came with me to Michigan. We did the 3-dayer with Spartan Nash, which was an amazing journey. Nicole Zuby, huge shout out to you. Just an awesome session with them. And like you're one of them now. Like they love you. Like you could just,
Yeah.
And so it's been amazing for me to sort of have a front row seat to some of the, you know what? You could say there's another one. Do you remember when Interactive Day at lunch, when it was it was a disaster?
Oh my gosh.
It was like, give me the downer sound. Where's the downer sound?
Yeah, here we go.
It was literally a I think the day before we were supposed to have Loretta Hidalgo, who was a founding astronaut at Virgin. And the night before, she's like, I'm so sorry. I'm sick. I cannot make it. But she had recommended somebody else, and that person did their best, but was a little flat. And
It was a downer.
It was. And so as this person is going and doing their thing, I am like speed walking over to Gary Ware. I'm like, Gary, can you please do 20 minutes? Just get up there. You got to turn this around. And in typical improv fashion, you were like, okay,
yeah,
I got you. Let's go.
You.
And you crushed it. And it was Gary Ware 101. All right, let's talk about if I'm at a company now, and I think it's pretty clear that companies are over-indexing, in my opinion, on productivity, on the bottom line. Yeah, we're saying all the right things, right? I think during the pandemic, we knew we needed to be creative. We needed to figure out ways to like bring the team together, right? Retention mattered. Not that it doesn't matter anymore. It does. But I feel this shift to seriousness.
Yes.
Are you sensing this too?
Very serious. And it's almost stressfully serious.
That's the name of your next book, right? You can take that one. All right. So what are you hearing? Like when you have quiet conversations with leaders that hire you, what are they saying to you, like as a temperature check for the rooms you're working?
Well, I actually just had a conversation with someone like that just recently. There's so much uncertainty, and they have to keep a straight face, like they know what's going on. They have to keep everyone calm and collected when deep down inside, they're stressed out. Something could happen tomorrow or in a week, and they can lose a big client, and then, everything is, on the ground. So
do you feel like they're also in a position where they have to justify every dollar they're spending?
Yes. Everything has to be justified because there's this fear that, yes, it can all go away tomorrow. And so as a result, everyone's stressed and they're super tense. And you know what happens when you're super tense? You can't move. This is where the paralysis comes from. This is how we did it last time. We're going to do it this way, even though, as you know, that doesn't work out.
As the play expert, let's say there's someone right now that's like white knuckling. They're in their car in the 10-2 position. They are responsible for setting the tone for their team or a culture. Like, give us something right now that we can do with our team, that we can take back right now, and that we could run our teams to just sort of like open me up, chill a little bit, get the conversations flowing. I always say, fear breeds fear, and courage breeds courage. It's a choose your own adventure. But if you're in the fear breeds fear, people get quiet, necks go away, right? Nobody talks. So like, open us up, give us something that we can take back to our teams.
All right. What we need to do is we need to create a level of psychological safety. And so what that means is when people have psychological safety, they feel assured that whatever they say is not necessarily going to come back to bite them. They can speak their truth. They can be their authentic self. And so in order to do that, you need to create dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphins, those neurochemicals that are going to help us be creative, that's going to help us connect. And It's super simple. This can be done virtually. This can be done in person. And it's a game called True for Me.
True for me.
All that it is,
Okay, let's play.
you're making statements. And if it happens to be true for you, yeah, that's me. That's me. And so if you're listening or watching this, if this happens to be true for you, let us know. Let us know. So I start off with some simple stuff like, hey, who's a morning person? We're morning people up.
True for me.
All right, cool. And I learned a new one. I feel this is more me, hummingbirds. So we have our early birds that they get up super early, hooray, hooray, hooray. Then we have our hummingbirds. They're the ones that don't necessarily like to get up early, but they're not super late, like me. Like I get up like maybe like 6 o'clock and I'm probably falling asleep on the couch about 8. Those are the hummingbirds. That's true for me. And then I'll say, oh, we're night owls. We're the night owls. And we got the folks. Oh yeah, true for me. I'll ask a simple question about like, oh, introverts. Any introverts? All right, cool. All right, thank you for raising your hand. I know you probably didn't want to.
Right.
Appreciate that.
Crickets for me, and no introvert over here.
Yeah, ambiverts. I fall more in the ambivert thing. Like, yes, I can be very outgoing, but at the same time, I have a meter. And once it depletes, I need to go recharge.
Yeah, I'm kidding. This is another show altogether, but I'm not sure I'm sold on introverts and extroverts. I think we're all introverts and offtroverts.
Oh,
Depending on where you are in the cycle of life. But that's just me.
all right. This deserves the. Anywho,
All right, so this game is called
true for me.
that game is called True for Me.
Yeah.
It's a great defroster, right? Get us going, raise our hands.
And you can mix it in. I do some fun stuff. I'm like, hey, any day drinkers, sports fan. Like I do all that stuff. And then once people start to defrost, I can ask some very serious questions and I will get people that will give us answers. So when I'm setting this up, I tell people, hey, look, we don't have lie detectors. So, you disclose what you want to disclose. So if you don't want your colleagues to know that you're a day drinker, if I ask that question, don't raise your hand. It's all good. And giving people permission allows them to just be truly, fully present. But I will ask questions like, how many people feel afraid at work? And I'll get people, yep, that's true for me. And again, when you start to see you and your superior both raising your hands about like, oh yeah, I feel like a fraud sometimes. I feel like I have imposter syndrome. Now we're starting to connect. Again, it seems like a throwaway, but it's very intentional about everyone sort of being on the same page.
Yeah, that doesn't feel like a first inning True for Me.
No.
Right? That feels like
we're almost done.
We're warmed up now. Yeah.
And then I always end on a high note. Like, hey, how many people are excited to like finally be in person? Something.
Right.
They're like, oh yeah, that's true for me. All right, cool. Boom, end scene. So yeah, I'll start like light, I'll throw some silly things. I'll throw some sports stuff, and then I'll get a few serious ones, serious nuggets in there, and then I'll end on a high. But it's very intentional about, and I'll ask, how many people feel like you learned something about a colleague that, you didn't really know before? Boom. Now, by getting people to actually self-identify, they're being seen and being heard.
So, look, you've heard the term armchair quarterback.
Yes.
I think there's a lot of arm-folded CEOs or decision makers.
Mhm.
I mean, if someone is still listening to the show today, I do think, well, they even know us or they're a believer, right? Or they've heard us.
Agreed.
But there's a lot of non-believers. There's a lot of fake believers out of there that don't really understand. Like, I don't understand how this is going to improve productivity. Like, how does this help us be more effective? You already said it. We're in a very serious, stressful time right now. So give me a little bit of the reasons to believe. Like, why is it so hard for like these serious leaders to not see, like, if you aren't landing and connecting with your people, you've got a bigger problem?
Well, it's more of where their line of focus is. If your line of focus is revenue, if it's on, pleasing your shareholders and stuff like that, then you're only going to see those through lines. However, the folks that are the believers, they start to realize actually the people are the ones that matter. If we don't have people that believe in us, then how are we going to continue to thrive?
And so how often or let me rephrase this. What percent of the time is your lead a warm lead by the time you get them on the phone?
For me,
Yeah. It must be pretty high.
most of my business is referrals. So get this, someone has heard about me. They said, oh, hey, call Gary. And the person who I'm talking to is like, all right, yeah, I get it. We need to sell this to my boss. I'm like, I got you.
Right.
We would take out the P word. We won't say play. We'll replace.
It's a 4-letter word, Gary. It's a 4-letter word.
I know it is. We'll replace those. We will use the words that make sense. So in the world of improv, one of our core values is make your partner look amazing. So essentially, yeah, we're having a training where we're working on communication, where we are working on strategies to help the team be more productive. And then at the end of the day, it's a Trojan horse, because by the end, I will seriously ask them, how many of you are having fun right now and feel more relaxed? Hands will be, even that
True for me.
arms crossed CEO,
True for me.
boom. And then guess what we were doing? They're like, what? We're playing.
And here we are on the path to productivity.
Yes, because people feel more relaxed.
Do they connect those? I mean, like, does it take hello horse, welcome to water in your mind for some people? Do they get it then?
It does. Yeah, they have to experience it, which is fine.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the amount of times someone has come up to me who's like, I was really skeptical, right? When you stumbled in here, when you walked in here, and then
you took off your shoes and you showed your socks.
showed my socks.
Said that they're like, I don't know where we're going with this.
This is, do I have to take off my shoes? I am out of here. It's like, no, it's just me. Don't worry. Keep everything on. No problem. All right. What has been the one massive mega takeaway you've had from your improv training that you try to weave into any talk you give?
One of the big things that I have to continuously remind myself, and I get this from improv, is that the audience is rooting for you. When I'm on the stage performing improv, and this is, I feel like, the difference between improv and stand-up comedy, where stand-up comedy, someone has heard, all right, this person's funny. So people go in very like judgmental. All right, you're funny? All right, prove it. Arms crossed.
Prove it.
They're like, all right, this person needs to make me laugh. Whereas improv, they're like, they're going to do what? They're going to get a suggestion and they're going to make something up without a script. People can't believe it. And so one of the things that we remind ourselves is that the audience wants you to succeed. And that's something I remind myself all the time. And it brings back the humanity. Like, at the end of the day, we're all humans.
Do you have a ritual you go to before you go on stage?
Oh, yeah. And this is, yes, I have a ritual. And this is what I do before I perform improv. This is what I do before a keynote, before a workshop. The first thing is all about getting in the right state. So I do close my eyes, focus on my breath. When we are performing, we do this activity, and I can't do this by myself, but we do this activity where we're in a huddle and we first focus on each other's breath. And our goal is to count to 21, one number at a time, but we have our eyes closed and it's random. And if two people happen to say the same number at the same time, we start over. And the goal is to get to 21. And imagine how challenging that can be with 6 people. But what it does, it just gets you completely focused, completely present. And so I can't do that with myself, but I do focus on just grounding myself. And then the next thing we do is energizer. So we get grounded, then we get hyped, and then we get focused.
I'm like, well, if I could start every day with my team, even with their eyes open, try to count to 21, it'd be like 11 a.m. before we finally got it some days. And it's probably my fault, probably talking over somebody. Like 3, 4, 5.
That's the takeaway. So that's the one thing, like the group that I perform with, we've been together for like over 6 years. And so we know that it's a calibration. And this is like life, just like if you're surfing or skateboarding or whatever, it's a calibration. Sometimes, and this worked out for you, sometimes you have to be the kite and sometimes you have to fly the kite. And so as we're doing this, like, yeah, if we have 2 times, we're like, oh man, all right, I'm pushing too much. All right, you know what? Let me take a step back. All right, cool. Let's keep going. And you're right. It might take longer than necessary, but that's what we need to get in the right headspace.
All right, so take us back. You know, you have this 2-year runway. Are we still within 2 years?
No, it's been 5 years.
Wow. Do you have a standing ovation?
No, because guess what? 2 years into it, what happened? I started in 2018 focusing on this. What happened in 2020?
Nothing that I can remember. No, there was nothing that happened. That was what happened is nothing happened.
I know, right? Anyway, so I thought 2020 was going to be my year, to be honest. I thought 2020 was going to be my year. I had a framework. I'm like, all right, I know how to make revenue. And then everything shut down. Matter of fact, I think, no, was our thing with Loyal, like it was right in February? Was it February or was it January?
It was right before, because they at the time, I can only remember I was brought in to help them set the values. And for those who don't know what we're talking about, this is the team that Landon Donovan coached, San Diego Loyal here in town, USL professional team. And when I had come in, no values were set, no mission statement was set, solid leadership team, but there was work that needed to be done. And I remember we had a full day offsite, and you kicked off our day, but it was clearly before the pandemic, because I think they had 6 to 8 games before the world shut down.
Yeah. So yours and a few others were my last couple. And then I slowly, so I had things booked up until like April. Matter of fact, I was going to be speaking at South by. I had all these things, and they slowly got cut. And then I was back to square one. Or at least so I thought.
Well, I'm curious, when fear wins, right? When fear wins in your life, where do you go?
So I had to practice what I preach. One of the things that I remind people of when you get in that sort of fight, flight, and freeze, you need to get back into creative. You need to use creativity as a way to get that. And play is a form of creativity. And so for me, what I did was, so the first time in 2018, the thing that brought me out was Legos. So I would just tinker with Legos. And then I was like, I need something else. And since we were sheltering at home, I told myself I wanted to be the worst magician that I can. I don't want to be like a David Blaine type magician. I wanted to just be a crappy magician, because I asked people, what are the things that you loved to do when you were younger that maybe as life got in the way you stopped doing? And magic was one of the things I always was a fan of. And so that was the thing that got me into the state of creativity again, is I just started teaching myself how to do bad magic.
Nothing says pandemic like, let me teach myself how to be a bad magician.
Yes.
You're a bad magician, Gary Ware.
Everyone else had their sourdough starters and all the other things. I had a few decks of cards, some sponge balls, and there we go.
Well, I'm pretty certain you were also in the midst of Playful Rebellion, correct?
Ish. That was being prototyped via a challenge, but the challenge came of the pandemic, of so many people were stressed out. And then the book happened a little bit after that, but it was starting to brew. It was in the hopper.
I mean, any fear for you in writing the book, or you're like, I have to keep going, I've got to keep pushing?
Oh, heck yeah. So my book, The Playful Rebellion, How to Maximize Work Through the Power of Play, it started as a 30-day challenge as a way to help people during this pandemic when they were just completely stressed out. And I was like, you need to rebel against that inner critic that's telling you that play is something that kids do. And so it was a 30-day challenge, which went amazingly well. And then this is where my inner critic started hitting me. Someone said, do you have this in the form of a book? I was like, what? No. And then another person asked. And then I was like, I guess I'm going to sit down and write this thing. However, being someone that my goal, I like to say for every job that must be done, you add a little bit of fun, and snap, the job's a game, Mary Poppins. I wanted to practice what I preach. And so I said, how can I make this as playful as possible?
Ooh, tell me more.
And so what I did, and I got this from reading Big Magic, Liz Gilbert's book, and she talked about how Brene Brown would write her books. Brene Brown does not like to write books. However, Brene Brown's an amazing storyteller. So what she did, I couldn't afford to do this, but she would have like a ladies' retreat, and she would take all of her best friends to a cabin. She would tell them stories, and then they would take notes, and then she would go in and write some stuff. I couldn't afford that. And we were still in a pandemic. We weren't meeting in person. And so what I did was I got someone that ended up helping me with the original structure. We got on Zoom every week and I would tell her stories. We outlined what the chapters were. We got on Zoom and she asked me questions similar to this, and I would just tell stories.
So I'm sure you remember when I was writing Return on Courage,
Oh, but of course.
you had one idea for me. Do you remember what the idea was? And I was stuck. I was like spinning on the idea, and you had given me one idea.
What was the idea?
Do you remember what this was?
No, tell me.
You told me to write a certain person a check.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
You want to take it from here? You take it from here.
Yeah. So, again, as a way to motivate yourself, especially when it's something very scary, sometimes we think we're motivated by the carrot, but sometimes we need to be motivated by the stick. And so I forgot where I learned about this. I think it might have been Tim Ferriss or something like that, but it was basically find like something either that's going to make you very jealous or very angry and write a check that is going to be an uncomfortable check if it actually got cashed. Set a deadline, give it to someone, and tell them, if I do not deliver by this date, you have my permission to cash this check or send this check to, X number fund or whatever the case may be. Yes.
I've never written a book faster, Gary.
Oh, snap! There we go.
Okay. I can't actually remember if I wrote you a check.
You didn't write me a check, but
I remember you being like, you're like, put a date on it. Right. And if I have it by this particular date, I can cash it. And I still clearly I remember that to this day. All right. I am now working on my, I've got lots of little side books that I'm working on. I got a kid's book coming out, trying to get that ready for holiday. Shout out to my partner, Chad Farmer, on just a talented, he found our illustrator in Belgium, which is amazing. So that's coming. I'm going to leave the name out for now, but I've got the next business book in the hopper. And let's say I am a little stuck. What advice do you have for me to make this book a reality?
All right. If you're stuck, again, this is where you're in the judgment center of your brain. Quick aside, there's a researcher at a USF, Charles Lim, and he has an amazing TED Talk. Google it. It's Your Brain on Improv. And he put jazz musicians in the EKG machine, and he had them just play music off of sheet music and then improvise. And he found when they improvise, they got quickly into creativity, super fast, and they turned off the judgment center of their brain, etc. And quick plug, I was at a conference this last weekend in Vancouver, British Columbia, and I got the pleasure of improvising with Colin Mockery of Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Amazing. Love him.
Yes. And he was one of the first improvisers that they did this test with, where they put him into that same thing. And they found out that not only jazz musicians, but improvisers just doing something spontaneous and whatnot get you into creativity. So my point is, if you want to activate the creative centers in your brain, you need to do something, believe it or not, that is going to, make you feel creative. So my invite to you is, what is something that brings you into the play? Is it soccer? Are you in movement? Go do that. And then immediately after you're done, jump in and give yourself a time box and all right, for the next 30 minutes, I'm just going to just write, because again, I'm out of judgment.
Beautiful. I love that. Thank you for that. I will use that and I will report back on that. Now, I know we're coming down the home stretch here. I felt it was important, since you're all about play, that I would create a game that we could play.
Yes.
It's called Blank. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Every time I say blank, fill in that blank with what feels right for you. Okay, you ready?
Perfect. Let's do it.
Okay. All right, here we go. It's 4 questions.
4 questions.
Number 1. Right now, the thing I'm most excited about with my work is blank.
Changing the world.
When I think about how I'm going to change the world, the thing that keeps me up at night the most is blank.
Will they like it?
When I worry about my family and my wife, the thing that comes top of mind first is blank.
Caring for them.
As I think about where I will be in 2025, my hopes and dreams has me speaking at blank.
Has me speaking at the TED conference in Toronto.
If I have my way for the rest of my life, I will help people blank.
Be the best version of themselves.
Gary Ware, you always help me be the best version of myself. It's not a throwaway. It's for real, man. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm so excited to be on the rocket ship and watching you do your thing. Thanks for coming on, brother.
Thanks for having me.
And you and I, we're gonna continue to do what we do together. Everywhere I can bring you, I try to, because you just light up a room and you're so good at what you do. Thanks for being you, Gary.
Thank you, Ryan. Love you.
Sound effect. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of the Courageous Podcast. If you enjoy the show, don't forget to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts so more people can find us. See you again next week.